What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man, and yes, I am back at it again, and this is Black Clover episode 146 review, and we finally see the whole picture of what the devil believers actually want. Let's get it, man.
I don't think I do it good, no, I think I do it great. They would do it if they could, they can't do it so they hate. Everybody wanna look, but nobody wanna play. Stealing eyes.
So this episode kind of continues with the same trend as the last couple episodes. We pick up right after everything that happened, but this episode we kind of jump back in time and kind of find out what happened to Dominato's subordinates and why they were lying on the floor bleeding, and why the one dude was feeling all weakly and coughing, and you know what he was doing because he was dying in the process. So we find out what happened to them this episode, and we see that the devil believers actually poisoned them, and we see that we kind of get a picture now. We kind of get a whole understanding of what's going on. Dazu and Bo don't really have magic, and I'm assuming the other members don't either. So the reason they are turning to actually believing in the devils is because they want to obtain power and feel better about themselves and maybe just live a better life. I honestly don't know. But what we can guarantee for sure is that this dealing with Anakama is going to come with a price, because even if they didn't, everything we learned from the Elven arc is what they kind of should have probably learned, because the Eye of the Midnight Sun caused all of that, dealing with the devil and everything. So there's a lot of stuff going into fooling with the devil that you might not realize that you don't know what you're dealing with. But they haven't gained that yet. They don't know that yet. So now we see that Julius and Yami and everybody else in Dominato are finding out the truth of what the devil believers actually want and what they believe. They wanted Asta's grimoire so they can use that to obtain, and probably Asta as well and Nero, to use them as sacrifices to the Spade Kingdom. They're making their way to the Spade Kingdom. That's what we find out this episode, that they're on their way to the Spade Kingdom, and they're going to they wanted to use Asta, his grimoire, and Nero as pawns or sacrifices or something to obtain a devil from the Spade Kingdom. But it's always a price that comes with dealing with Anakama, but they haven't learned that yet. So this episode, we see Yami trying to play Yami and the other Black Bulls trying to play catch up because they have such a huge head start on them. So they spend the rest of the episode chasing the devil believers, and they're going here, going there, trying to gather information, and they get tidbits, but they don't really get enough to really find anything to go on until later in the episode. But we see Gordon also goes inside of Bo's house, her apothecary shop or whatever, and sees that she's using a lot of stuff that's very hard to obtain. So then they needed to get information about her and what they were dealing with, and that's how they also found out information about Bo, and that she didn't really look happy in her wedding picture next to her husband. And don't get me wrong, her backstory, yeah, it's kind of sad, because she was dealing with some kids and they used her. Then they started talking about her behind their back because she couldn't use magic. And yeah, it's sad, because in the Clover Kingdom, if you don't have magic, you really don't matter. Bad enough, you don't really matter if you're a peasant anyway. But like, if you're a peasant that doesn't have magic, even the other peasants pick on you. So that's kind of, Clover Kingdom needs a whole restructure, and Julius and Yami and everybody else, they're trying to do what they can, but it's so hard to change people who's already set in their ways. It's so hard to kind of deal with that, but they're trying, and not making a lot of progress, but they're trying. So we're chasing them this entire episode until the end. We see Asta, Magna, and Noel come across this one kid that's just bashing his mom, man. Like he's pushed her down on the ground. He's telling her he's not worried about her, all because the devil believers promised him to fix his leg so they could gain a lot of followers. Because I feel like they know that they're going to need some sacrifices dealing with the Spade Kingdom, because the Spade Kingdom is just out here killing people left and right. But I feel like they know that they're going to need sacrifices, so they try to whisper sweet nothings to all of these other people that doesn't have magic or has weak magic, and trying to get them to follow them so they can use them once they enter or cross the border to the Spade Kingdom, so they can use them to obtain the power of the devils, because that's all they care about. All they care about is themselves. That's what this whole focus is. They try to make it seem like they care about everybody else, but it's solely themselves that they only care about. And we see Asta kind of feeling down, because he feels like the dude and all of these other people feel like, well, that one kid in the Magic Knights, he uses the devil powers and he doesn't have any powers, and it doesn't help him and it hurts. So they're trying to use Asta's situation as a standing point to justify doing everything that they're doing. And it's not, you can't really use Ask the Situation as anything in my book, because Ask the Situation is so unique because he has the power of the devil, but they're kind of working in like a connection and a union together. They're not, he's not taking over his body or anything like that. Like they're working together in unison to obtain something greater. But they keep using that as a foundation, and they can't, that's not a great foundation to stand on, because Ask the Situation is so unique. But that's a whole nother video, man. So at the end of the episode, we see Asta feeling some type of way, and Noelle and Magna trying to calm him down. It was like, hey man, it's not your fault. You can't be blamed for this. And then they are on their way inside like the Breed Mountain, because that's where they ended up following their tracks from, of the Devil Believers. So they get there and they're trying to navigate through this mountain, but it's so magic heavy. So like they're fluctuating with their magic powers. Magna's motorcycle, well not motorcycle, his broom is kind of waving around in the wind and everything, because it's so much magic there that it kind of throws everybody else's magic out of whack. But at the end of the episode, we see a whole bunch of people following the Devil Believers. Like there's a lot of people, and Asta's wondering how did they get so many. And like I said, they got so many because I feel like they know they're going to use these people as sacrifices once they enter in the Spade Kingdom. They're going to offer these people up to like the head people of the Spade Kingdom, so they can use them to obtain the devil powers themselves. That's why they have Asta's grimoire and Nero, so they can kind of offer like a better bargaining chip along with all of these other people. But we see that the Devil Believers are actually legit crazy, man. And the thing is because Bo and Dazu are heading it up. They amassed a cult following of all of these crazy people that's following into their ramblings, because they feel like, oh yeah, well, we can obtain this because Asta or that one kid in the Magic Knight has devil powers and stuff, but you can't use that as a foundation. Overall, it was a nice episode and it was very great. I always love seeing the Black Bulls participate in stuff like this, because we even saw Zora helping, Luck, everybody was there. We see the other Magic Knights kind of realizing that, hey man, this is becoming a problem, and like this is really becoming a problem. So this is something we're really going to have to deal with. And I feel like the conclusion is very near. Maybe 2 or 3 more episodes, and then I feel like we're going to wrap up with this part. I don't know. That's just my opinion. This is your boy, The Incredible, man. Don't forget to smash the like button until you can't smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. And remember that anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life, man. Peace out.
I cannot complain, because today, I'm doing my thing. I stay my lane and fight through the